All right, everyone. Welcome to the Biohacking Beauty podcast, your guide through the intersection of health, technology, and the art of maintaining youthful skin and vitality. I'm your host, Amitay and co-founder and CEO of Young Goose, the world's first biohacking skincare brand, where we believe in empowering your skin's natural repair processes through cutting-edge science and biohacking technologies. In this very, very special episode, we're joined by none other than, you might know him as Cyborg Gains. His name is Jean Fallacara. He is a very good friend of mine, a visionary at the forefront of biohacking and human optimization. Jean is a serial entrepreneur, scientist, investor, speaker, philanthropist, athlete, and a recognized maestro of longevity and biohacking. His unique approach combines neuroscience, fitness, and technology to push the boundaries of human performance and health. John's work is not just about enhancing physical and mental capabilities, it's about revolutionizing the way we think about aging and longevity. He is incredibly, well versed. He's the founder of Z Sciences and the mind behind, as I alluded to before, neuroscience calisthenics, which he promotes through his Instagram, Cyborg Gains. Jean also is the founder of Lifespanning Certification, which Young Goose is certified by, kind of a no BS approach to longevity and biohacking. And Jean is dedicated to unlocking the full potential of the human body and mind, ensuring that we live longer, healthier, and more vibrant lives. Today, Jean and I will be sharing talking about his insights on the importance of a holistic approach to wellness and also skin health, exploring how biohacking techniques can significantly impact overall health and skin health as well. And of course, looking at them through the focal point of the aging process. We'll dive into the science of longevity, the power of the mind-body connection, and practical tips for incorporating biohacking strategies into your health routine. Before we dive into our captivating conversation with Jean, I want to share a heartfelt review from one of our valued Biohacking Beauty listeners. A wonderful person said, "Thank you for all the wonderful knowledge you are sharing. Very informative. Can't wait to listen for more." Can't wait to listen to more. So thank you very much for that. And of course, look, this is why we're doing this. Your support and feedback really means the world to us, and that's what keeps us going and this podcast growing and evolving. And your feedback really matters. We're really taking it to heart. So if you haven't done so yet, please take a moment to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Even a simple one-word review can make a tremendous difference, helping us reach more listeners eager to transform their beauty and wellness journeys. But now, without further ado, let's dive into our enlightening conversation with Jean Fallacara. Finally, welcome, Jean. Welcome to the Biohacking Beauty podcast.
Amitay, thank you so much for having me. Finally, like you said, but finally, I'm happy to be here. I'm always happy to be anywhere you are. Any places you are, sticking around is a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. That's how our friendship started. It's by basically, if someone recorded the first interaction we had, that would have been a pretty good podcast.
Yeah, it was some sort of falling in love situation. We started
Definitely.
to talk because we had a booth next to each other, and 2.5 hours later we were still talking, and people were just like passing by and saying like, what the hell these guys are talking about?
Well, first of all, there weren't a lot of people passing by. It was it wasn't a great conference, but definitely. True. I mean, Jean, I don't know where to start with you because you are such an interesting person. But I will ask, I think, the generic question that I ask most people when they come to the podcast, which is, I think I feel comfortable using the word biohacking with you. Sometimes I skirt around it, health optimization, whatever. Biohacking. Within the realm of biohacking, and I think in alternative health as a whole, there are two major type of people who are enthusiastic about it, or who are making a living, obviously, off of it. Which one is people who had some kind of health challenge, and they overcame it with the tools that they are now professing, that they are now purveying. And the other ones are people like me who fortunately never had a serious health issue. They're just big old nerds, and then that's what drew their interest. And so where are you on that spectrum? Where are you?
Okay, I'm gonna be blunt and straightforward as I'm always. Here's my take. I think that most people in this community that are telling a story, it's mainly because America likes storytelling. It's not really the story that happened to them, but it's like, let's cut the crap. It's some things that they set it up to get on the spotlight and to chase the fame. Some are true, some are not, or some are just exaggerated. Where do I stand? I stand
based on a true story.
That's it. Point. Bing, bang, boom. And this is the problem. You have to be struggling to become interesting, and this makes me sick. So in a way, I come from the side where I'm someone that likes optimization at large, getting to the deepest, profound experience and knowledge that the world and the body and the brain, of course, can bring. So this is what was driving me to get into biohacking. But I was yesterday saying to friends, I think that I've been a biohacker even when I was a little kid, because I was taking oils and stuff like that as a kid because of the grandmother lessons and teaching my mother that it was good for us not to get sick with ricin oil and these supplements. But I came more into the biohacking when I was starting to do sports and paying attention to what the brain can do for the body. And then you realize that you can optimize so much your body as long as your mindset is aligned with that. And some people are pushing biohacking in a way that they're pushing on technology, but they're not pushing on their mindset enough. So it's completely counterproductive. I
would say it's counterproductive to selling a product. If you say that there is a mindset aspect involved, you're losing 99% of your potential buyers.
Yeah. But look, even you're in the skincare industry, and look where you're coming from. Skincare industry as biohacking, the first skincare company that jumps into biohacking. That takes courage to say biohacking your skin is something that need to be done, and put it in this perspective, because it's funny enough, before jumping on this podcast, I just received an email. I was invited in California for Biohacking Beauty, and I was just like, okay, that is cool. Now people pay attention to one of the principal factor in biohacking, and it's so obvious for you. For me, it's obvious, but look at this. You want to optimize your body. Your biological age is going down and reversing, and you're feeling great. You're awesome. You're top performing, and your skin is sagging, and you're not getting there. And you don't look that great because you have to pay attention to that as well.
Yeah.
So this is where you come in perspective. It's a whole. And where I'm coming from this world of science and technology. And I think that at the end of the day, biohacking is a buzzword, because you cannot hack anything in your biology, and we know it. Yeah, we can just improve it, and let's keep going, and let's keep moving the needle there, and let's help people to live better, longer, healthier. As simple as that. I think that's our mission.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, that's why also the term like biohacking skincare is definitely. I'll tell you two things. First of all, technically speaking, any skincare is biohacking within the parameters of what we define biohacking is, which is health improvement, not even optimization. Because you could also argue what is optimized, right? But,
well, nothing is optimized to the extreme. We are in a perpetual imbalanced movement toward the future. So we will never be in perfect balance. Impossible.
Yeah, for sure. But I'll give like an example about the skin, and I think it will make sense. Look, you just had Brian Johnson on your wonderful podcast, which is called No Plan B.
Thank you. Yes.
What's interesting with Brian Johnson is the way that he measures success in health optimization is only, in my eyes, only one of the three pillars, which is the optimal performance pillar. That's why he says, I listen to my body. But if you listen to your body and read your body's current output, what you're looking at is how well my body performs right now. The problem is that you are not looking at what will happen in an extreme scenario. So what will happen if I don't sleep well right now for a month?
Yeah.
Because you had.
How do you recover?
How do you recover? Because you had a newborn, maybe. That's one option. And also, how does extreme longevity looks like? Because, for example, again, in the example of Brian Johnson, just because it's a very easy example, because he's out there, right? And actually, again, I am very thankful for a person like him, because he definitely raised the awareness, but it's also easy then to give examples about him. He does a treatment that I would recommend doing every 5 years, every month.
Yeah, intense. A bit
intense, but also calling on reservoirs that are, we don't know how these reservoirs look like if you call on them very, very often. Actually, we do. We know that the skin is becoming more and more frail if you call on renewal too soon. We actually know that senescent cells also build up due to cellular turnover. So the equation is the more renewal you have, the more senescent cells you have. So you can be, again, like someone that's like Sandra Kaufman, saying everything that like Dr. Sandy Kaufman, everything that I'm doing, I can chemically then change. So if I redline my body, I can take some peptides and support that and be like a DJ, right? Trying to support everything. But that's just as an example of, I believe, of a very fresh take on what health is, but maybe not taking into account the entire spectrum of what health is. It's like, there is a reason fighters, when they have a fight camp, they have a 6 to 8 week fight camp, because you cannot be in your top performance for more than that time frame. You will for sure get injured. So I think you see where I'm going with that.
Yeah. time of focus that exceed 90 minutes, and everything works on ultradian rhythm inside of our biology. That's one factor. So why other cellular processes wouldn't work that way as well? My take on that is this one. The biology of human is very complex. What everyone that is in this industry, and including our friend Brian, is trying to say is one factor impacts one or two or three factors. But this is not true. In biology, as complex as it is, and I'm not getting into the biology of brain, okay? I'm just getting into the biology of cells and organs. One factor impact about 1,000 different other factors, expression of genes, molecules, neurotransmitters, hormones, and whatsoever, which themselves impact another 1,000. So 1,000 factor 1,000, this is what you're triggering with one modification. And they take, all these people take for granted that they are applying one for correcting one problem. It's not true. Our body is made in a way that first is trying to correct by himself, but second, the impact and sub-impact and sub-impact of every single things that we put in or put out or we change or we modify is so complex that not even artificial intelligence is going to be able to transcript and to decrypt completely. This is the beauty of being human and being a species that is unique. And human or animal are the same in terms of cellular level. But I think that, we're playing gods, trying to modify the action or the trajectory of certain components and vectors and cells or organs in our body. And at the end of the day, as you said, the feedback or the loop that is going to come back, we don't know. It's interesting what you said, Amitai, because when Brian was first starting his process, I first rejected it completely. Then I understood it, and now I accept it, and I'm at the stage I like it. But in the back of my mind, I'm always curious if, because of the intensity of the biohacking is not going to generate some cancers. And I'm perplexed on that. Yeah, from the back of my mind, I've always been thinking that with all the excessive manipulation of the biology, I was afraid that it would generate some dysfunction, and to the extreme to put up to a cancer in certain places of his body. And I was just concerned. You go too much under the sun, you can burn your skin, you can generate cancer. You go too much on your liver, you can kill your liver in a part and generate cancer. You go too much on your heart, you can not get a cancer of the heart. That doesn't exist, I don't think so, but you can have degeneration, and that applies for every single organ. So why does that work? Everything in cellular biology, everything that you put to the extreme as an excitement, as a reaction of overreaction, and it could be that, and I hope it's not going to happen, but I wouldn't be that surprised that the story would end up that way, and that would be the saddest story in the world, because it would be the end of biohacking as well.
I agree. I think we almost witnessed it a few times in the past. We almost witnessed it with the craze of hyperbarics, for example, where people have started, abusing hyperbarics and not screening well, and people with either tumors or lung issues came into the chambers and got some issues. We saw it we're still very, very early with biologics like stem cells and exosomes and stuff like that. So we don't know how this story ends. It looks good, but I'm saying this is something, by the way, that the American medical system did not adopt, partially for those reasons. So what do you see as more holistic, overarching ways to affect our biology? So you did mention something super smart, which is the more granular you're trying to approach, it's not like you're affecting only that small system. You just are concentrating on the effects on that system, whatever that is. If I care about my wrinkles in the forehead, the most granular I can go is Botox, because all I'm doing is taking care of that appearance of a wrinkle. But it doesn't mean Botox doesn't have effects on my liver. It means I'm not measuring it as part of my N of 1 experiment.
That's it.
So what are some of the things that you think are more overarching?
Well, I think that at the end of the day, if you don't build up the baseline of what our biology is made for, biohacking doesn't bring you anything, and it will not get you anywhere. So if you start by putting your environment in the right place, waking up and putting some water in your body to hydrate your brain, because your brain has shrunk during the night, and then having some sunlight and walking, and those basic fundamental steps that you need to take to get in balance with your biology. Then you can add some biohacking techniques, if we can call them. My entire life as a biohacker, actually, I was mainly biohacking my brain. It was really focused. I was among the first. Actually, I was part of those testing for Halo Neuro, the transcranial stimulation. Yeah, that was a sick tool. I still have it. Once in a while, I use it, and the prime of 20 minutes was cool, putting in neuroplasticity. I'm a big fan of BrainTap, Neurovisor, all these things that work on the brain, because whatever you do in terms of trying to optimize your body, if your brain is not aligned there, if you have negative thoughts, if you are depressed, if you don't feel great, or if you don't feel positive enough, you can do whatever. It's not, a cold plunge will not put you back there if your mind is not aligned. So try to get your baseline set up, then start by optimizing your brain, and then you can use anything. I think that in our community, in our environment, and in our world of biohacking, there's very valid products. And there's also a bunch of crap, but the certification make a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, and but as long as your product is valid and backed up, like yours, certified, I think that it's good to use them. Yeah, it is good.
It's funny. I do want to probe you more about your experience. I'm applying modalities in the world, but before that, I just want to mention that when we had our first 2.5 hour conversation, one of the things that we did touch was certification. I mean, we didn't necessarily call it that way, but what we did mention are that there are two evils that are coalescing on our industry.
Yeah.
The first are big fill in the blank, whatever that is, big pharma, big health, whatever that is. We can see it, for example, whether we think it's good or bad. We can see it, for example, with Ozempic / GLP-1 agonists, right? Because they are. This is a peptide that was readily available.
Before you go too far, the story yesterday, my guest at home was actually the guy that put into the market Ozempic from that farmer. He was at my place and he didn't know what biohacking was, but
oh my God.
very, very big coincidence.
Yeah. You see, Jean, listen, we got to hang out more. I got to meet those people. No, but listen, so this is biohacking par excellence, right? This is a peptide that has been used in the community for a while. It's a successful version. By the way, many, I won't say most, but maybe most is an exaggeration. Many of the peptides that are now used for anti-aging started as a weight loss peptide. Yeah. So they just didn't you didn't lose weight as well, but it optimized your mitochondria or whatever that is. So this is one risk, whether it is Timeline Nutrition now getting $66 million from L'Oreal or or being bought by Nestle. It's a Nestle company now. So we have that. We have just loss of identity and ethics. Obviously from that. And we have the other part, which are just legit crooks. Like legit. I wouldn't, you know what? I'm not going to say
legit crooks.
I will say this. I'll say this. If you are planning on only selling one of a thing to a person, you have to make a lot of money off that one sell. And in order to have a high price tag, you need to promise a lot of big things. Okay. That's the equation. We see that in skincare, obviously. Exactly. With skincare, you see it all over the place. The higher the product price, the more promises are attached to it. But you can see it with any other health device. Anyway, by the way, you can see it also with knee surgery and stuff like that. They promise A, B, and C. It doesn't happen. So that was kind of our conversation about how can we safeguard our little biohacking community. So how do you do it?
Well, we did because of the demands that was emerging from industry and from you and the community, and because of the legacy of Biohackers magazine behind that was the central point of information, unbiased and always fair and transparent. We never pushed one product more than another, one person more than another. Even if some were not nice with us, we never trashed anyone. We never promoted anyone. We are fair. We are transparent. We're a media company. So people came to us and said, like, listen, the authority in this industry to clean up the dirt is probably you guys. And at Dave's conference last year, we launched
Biohacking Conference. For those.
Biohacking Conference, for those that are not used to. We launched the certified program, and where people, companies, and biohacking industrial manufacturer submit product, and we have a committee of scientists revising everything that it said, that it's claimed. Is it true? Is it fake? If by any means you find one thing that is not true, they're not getting the certification. And we're bumping into one problem today. We have one client that certified one part of his product, is trying to certify the second, but the second is bullshit to our eyes. And we can't give them the certification just because he had the certification on the other one. So we're very, very strict. And I think that the industry will be cleaned up this way. And what we were dreaming about during our talk at the first time is becoming a reality today. And hopefully in the world, people will know that you cannot come to this industry or those shows and say, I'm selling biohacking chocolate. What the heck is biohacking chocolate? Oh, it's because it contains iron. come on, every single chocolate bars contains that. It's not that you put the name biohacking to sell more, so it becomes a marketing weapon, and we don't want that.
No,
we don't want that.
I think, to your point, it's actually a very, very good point, because the inference is one of the best weapons for, I would say, for crooks. No offense to any crook out there, but inference is one of the most effective ways to drive home a point that actually started somewhere else. If you agree with me on 1, 2, 3, I go from there and say, well, you agreed with me until here. By the way, this is also what I believe in, but you already agreed with me over here. So we can see it in the political system. We can see it everywhere, True. That's very important. And I can attest, by the way, so we jumped immediately when we knew that you guys are live. I'm like, Jean, we want to get certified.
And it was super.
Yeah, and no one cut us any slack. They asked for our research. It was pretty. I was impressed. Because again, for us, it's very easy. It's a drive on our system. Share that drive, and we're good. But I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if people will know, oh, that's Jean's friend, let's give him the certificate. He's good. It was very
I didn't even know. You remember, you told me that you got certified, and I was just like, oh, wow, already. I wasn't not even aware about the process. Yeah. I'm trying, I'm getting involved at the last resource because I'm still out there. I do speeches. I'm invited. I speak to people, and I want the scientific team to really be transparent with what they're doing and not be affected by anything I could say voluntarily or not voluntarily. If I say, hey, I was with Amitay yesterday, I saw his baby and blah, blah, blah. Then if they're working on it, no. So it's good. It's good that is that way.
Maybe they're going to say, oh my God, he told us his baby is 50 years old. He looks like that. Well, we have to approve this podcast. Anyway, so Jean, so I do want to continue grilling you on the fact that you are this really very impressive physically, health-wise, very impressive person.
Thank you.
Mentally, etc. And even though you live in the heart of Miami, which is, I wouldn't say it's conducive. Brickell, I wouldn't say it's conducive to health. So I wonder, what are some of the things that you are conscious about? That you're conscious about. You mentioned sun, you mentioned going outside. What are some of the things that you have to do because you live in a Western
noisy place?
Yeah.
Very noisy. You know what? It's interesting because before moving to United States in Boston, so when I sold my company, for the last 2 years before moving, I was living at my secondary place, a cottage that was on the front lake in nature, 2 hours away from the city, no noise, just animals and nature and lake in the most quiet environment that it could be. But I didn't find my ikigai there at that time, because probably the work I was doing was not the work I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It's part of it. When I moved to Boston, I started to be a bit better because I was away from my family for a year. So I was having more time to get centered. And I think that most people lack of this simple principle of life that relates to awareness, is being with yourself without music, without sound, without telephone, whatever, being just with yourself. So despite the fact that I live in the heart of the city, I have a beautiful view on the bay here at the Icon in Brickell, and I spend time with me, with myself. I can spend 2 hours, no music, no phone, nothing, just steady, still, sitting, And the noise around me, that is mostly white noises, I don't hear it. It doesn't bother me. It's probably triggering something, some frequencies in my brain, but they are pretty much aligned in a way that they're not altering my mindset, my mind space, and they don't get into any inflammatory reaction with my brain. And I'm at my utmost state of enlightenment in my life. I've never been so zen. The highest state of zenness you can be is the one I'm today. And I live in the city. I do that by answering your question. I do that by watching the sun, being in the environment that fits me. I'm a guy that doesn't like to be dressed up. So Miami is the perfect place for that. I don't need a coat. I used to be in Canada where you need to be always with something on you. And I don't, my skin doesn't stand friction. Any tissues and friction and anything. So I need almost to be naked kind of, but not dressed much. So, and I'm like that. And Miami brings me this. I'm in peace. Like this morning, I open up the patio door and I'm just like, wow, the humidity is high, it's wet, it's warm, and I feel great, just great. So your mind state is already aligned there. Then you look at the sun, you spend some time and you put in place the simple principle of not drinking coffee, not opening your phone, because our society became slave of everything that is around us, slave of the technology. My phone is off from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning, and there is no way that no one can call me, ask me, text me whatsoever before these times. They can, but I don't see them. And my phone is not in my bedroom. It's far away. I put away the temptation as well. Those principles put your brain in a state where you are in balance, and then the body just follow. I have a strict routine of training, but I don't push myself to where people so like, okay, I'm going to do legs today, arms tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. I go to the gym. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something. And I do whatever my body is telling me to do. And if I feel working out 45 minutes, I do. If I feel working out an hour and a half, I'm going to do an hour and a half. And sometimes I just feel like 20 minutes of doing handstands because it's a day I didn't sleep that well or whatsoever. And this is it. Most people put pressure on themselves for no reason. But if you start by just listening to your body and just be aligned with what your body... Brian Johnson is quite accurate on that. He's giving power to his body and his organs. And we should not give power totally and to the body and your organs, but at least have this proprioception that allows you to understand that your body is a biological system that needs balance, and if you listen to it, you're going to be in balance, and then you don't even need biohacking that much.
I agree. Well, I to what you're saying, before the word biohacking, the same community was called self-quantification. Right. So basically it is, whether it's listening to the body, granted, it was biased towards, accurate data, digital quantification of data. But it is, at the end of the day, the famous-ish saying, what you can't measure, you can't change, right? But if you listen to your body, you are measuring an output. I think what you're saying is deeper even, because what you're saying is, I understand that the person that I am outside of a situation is not the same person I'll be inside a situation. Like, you're not asking yourself, who will I be when I'm in the gym? You're
Correct.
putting yourself in the gym.
And at the moment present, I don't care if this week I did 5 workout or 6 or 7 or 10. It's like the principle, going back to the self-quantification. Check this out. I have no Roaring, no Fitbits, no tracer, nothing, because they're addictive.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I was measuring my heart rate, HRV, whatsoever. I was measuring everything. But today, give a Fitbit to someone, a week after, is going to be stressed out because he didn't make the number of steps that was required. He didn't. His heartbeat is getting higher for a certain reason, and then I didn't do that. Somebody was telling me a story that she saw on a movie. A woman that gives a Fitbit to her assistant and go like, you have to run, otherwise my Fitbit is going to run on my on my balls for the rest of the day.
It's genius, because really I am of the opinion that everything that you are doing, you are not you are cementing a habit, whatever that is, by the way, whatever. Even if you're on the couch, there is a habit of sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So just let's think together what a wearable that you're checking is. If we're only talking about the habit, by the way, we're cementing the habit of interacting with a wearable, right? We're not cementing a habit of, checking in with your body, feeling better. All of those things are actually not what you're doing by wearing a wearable. I think wearables are great for a certain period of time.
Yeah, learning. We need to learn. It's like every process in your brain, you have a learning process. They're necessary there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. So there is this continuous glucose monitoring, right? I think everyone that is interested in skin health or any type of health should wear a continuous glucose monitor for about 2 weeks. And that's
to learn. Yeah,
to learn how their body behaves. Obviously, you can, again, you mentioned the brain. If you wore it for longer and you had the different, I think, life experiences, you learn how much your mental health affects your ability to interact with sugar. But for the most part, this is like the perfect wearable. Actually, I think the more easy it will be from now on, it's going to actually ruin that wearable.
Yeah,
have it in their Apple, right? Apple came out and said, we're going to be able to measure your glucose levels through the Apple Watch eventually. Like you wouldn't need a pinprick. I think that's going to ruin that measurement.
Probably, but Apple came recently on the market saying, like, we're going to give you an index of your longevity as well. That is very sick, honestly.
Yeah.
Saying like you're going to die probably in that many years, predicting that. Like ChatGPT has been doing that as well. This is stressful, honestly. This is a stress. Yes.
We don't know. We really, I think, there is a study that came out, and many studies, or 3 studies by now, have echoed its results, where we can assess someone's age by looking at them, and the deviation is like 3 to 5 years. You could be accurate 3 to 5 years. It is crazy, but the same way where Apple can't predict your longevity, I cannot predict what someone's age is. Maybe, by the way, they have a genetic predisposition for losing fat in their face, or maybe they're doing Botox and fillers and they had plastic surgery, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's very difficult to base something on a study that you've tailored the
to standard, that you standardized and you want to apply to the rest of the population. Don't you think that in the future, this was my opening sentence on my speech, I came up with this quote. It's, your biological age is the credit score of your body. And I believe that in less than 5 years from now, your credit score, your insurance company, your loans, cars, houses, rent, everything will be based on biological age because, as you said, we cannot now see the difference with ages and aging in general. But the standard of biological age becomes more and more
correct.
Something's predictive of who you are really and what's your lifestyle. If you're 40 and your biological age is 65, means like, man, slack the alcohol and the cigarettes and all the drugs or whatsoever, because you're doing something's wrong. You're sitting on the couch and you're not sleeping well or whatsoever, or not eating well. But if you're 40 and your biological age is 21, then man, you deserve to have a better credit score. You deserve to have access to more things because you're going to live longer.
Yeah, definitely. And you're going to have more time in the workforce, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's very true. I think the philosophical exercise there is a little bit, I think the scale's a little bit interesting, because the more we could measure, right? The more we could measure biological age, or what should be referred to more as the rate of aging, like how fast you age, how
correct,
how are you aging at a 0.5%, which means basically you're aging slower than your chronological age. So the question is, when we measure it, we will be able to affect it better. When we will be able to affect it better, I think those systems that you're talking about, credit systems, especially insurance. Actually, I think probably it's going to need to go through an overhaul, because a lot of the assessments, a lot of the pools that they are now a part of, if we talk about insurance, then, life insurance, health insurance, all of those things. I don't want to be in a pool with people who treat their body, again, that are 65 when they're 40.
But the more you're getting old, the more you're going to be in that pool. And that's the problem of those standards. I don't want to be in the pool of people over 50, for sure.
Yeah, and the same thing with life expectancy. How am I, or even like a 401k? I'm ruining it for everyone else if I'm staying. If my age is not moving. This guy is 90. He's aging at a rate of he's 45 years old biologically. That's a menace to that system. The same system that liked it when it was talking about health is now kind of hates it when we're talking about paying the dividends of retirement, right? So,
but Amitay, in the economy, Peter Diamandis, that was also on my podcast, told me this thing. He said 1 year of life extension brings $38 billion of wealth worldwide.
I think that is very interesting, because there is a book. I want to tell you now. I'm going to stop and tell you, because everyone should listen to it, or listen to it. Everyone should read it. It is. I have to tell you. It is by Peter Zehan. And this guy is incredible, because he's breaking down how economies, especially European economies, etc., not only that they don't have enough kids, it's that they don't have enough kids and they're living too long. And what happens is that you're not only getting less production, you're also getting less consumption within a society. You don't have both of those things. Because as older you get, you're less susceptible to whatever that is, whatever the latest trend is. So, unless it's plastic surgery again.
So it's going to be the new economy trend.
maybe. But I think it's very. I think you might, a person that is looking at it definitely is correct, as long as you are creating productive members of society. There is another book which is called the Billionth American: Why America Needs a Billion People in Order to Compete in the World, etc. And it's also is talking about how a country that, whether it's true or not, country that produces more is a stronger player, or a country that produces and consumes more. So when you're extending the life of a person, you're actually doing something that is unique, because you're getting only the positive part of the delta. You're not getting the learning curve that this person required, right?
No, it's true.
You're not, educating him in a public system for I don't know in America 15 years. I don't know how long system is.
Yeah,
and you're only reaping the benefits of his expertise, if you would.
That's correct. Yeah, but we have to admit, we live in a world that is fascinating today. It's so many things are happening out there. So many interesting changes are putting our perspective and our vision in a challenging mode every single day. And I love that, because for once, we're not living on a status quo where it is what it is and we have to survive. It's today. Everything is possible. Everything seems like completely out of control in a way, but I love chaos. I think that chaos creates opportunities, and opportunities create wealth and better places for humanity in general. So I'm very happy to live in this world today. Yeah, that's why I want to live longer.
100%. By the way, that's, I think, connecting to what Peter Diamandis said and what you said before. That's the difference between money and wealth. Someone might say, if someone would live longer, then I would need to share the entire financial infrastructure with them for another year. That's fine. By the way, you could claim that. But wealth and finance is not the same thing whatsoever. If I am which I'm not, a great mechanic that can take an old car and refurbish it, and now it's a collectible item, I've just created wealth without actually injecting more money into the system.
Right.
The same way as that person that is now a contributing member of society, whatever that is, has now created a contribution without taking anything, as long as it's net positive. So I agree with that claim.
Yeah, because the people that say no, we cannot live longer because no one will pay for retirement. I think that if you live longer and healthier, no one wants to retire, and that's the thing. So you're going to be able to keep creating and doing stuff and producing. So that's where we
100%. Again, and I think retirement is predicated on you not wanting to do things.
That's it.
You not wanting to participate, and that is also, with respect to people who do want to retire. There are people who want to sell their company and retire when they're 35, but they're only retiring. They're not really retiring. They're retiring from obligation.
Correct. What? Yeah, people that wants to retire from some things they've been doing in their life that was removing their freedom.
Yeah.
And this is it. At the end of the day, I could have retired pretty much several times in my life, and I'm still here, and I don't want to stop. And because I was saying this like an hour ago, I don't think that anybody on this planet will create a legacy, and it's not the goal of my life either. But if we can educate the child of our child, our place and our mission on this planet was a success.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Well, listen, to close things, Jean, before we get into where people can tap into your brain some more, no pun intended, I want to ask you a couple of questions. So first of all, looking at skin health, first of all, you have great skin. You have
thanks to you.
very, very healthy very healthy. I would say a very healthy framework to the way you live your life. What is the one thing that you recommend people start tomorrow? Like one
For the
advice.
skin, it's interesting because for several years in my life, I was like never using any cream, any washing, any. And then I started to realize that you impact your skin harshly when you live in cities with pollution and everything. And I started to pay attention to washing more my skin before going to bed, putting some cream or complex compounds. Well, I like your stuff and it works. So what do? I just do that. I have to be honest with the public. I did a bit, maybe a year ago, I did this Morpheus stuff. Because my skin when I was young was full of acne and I had marks and everything. So I did the Morpheus and he actually worked pretty well. It takes some time. It's like it shows 3-4 months after.
Yeah.
But it helps. It's a bit expensive.
It's a bit expensive, and I think you need to be as healthy as you to reap the benefits of it. To be honest, like really, Morpheus is something.
Is that true? Yeah.
Yes. Morpheus is extremely aggressive as far as the reservoirs that it requires the body to react to. So you really need to be what I call like living like an athlete to get the result from it. Really. So
that's interesting. Okay.
That's great advice. Great advice. Jean, again, I did mention your very good podcast, but let's go through some of the things that you touch and people can connect to. So obviously we have the Biohackers magazine.
Yeah, Biohackers Magazine, central point for information, of course, biohackersmag.com, to learn about me in general. And because I'm like you, I've been all over the place running 50 wars at the same time. JeanFallacara.com is probably the site where you're going to get all the information on my personal website, and it links you to everything I do. I cherish a lot my Instagram account because it's honestly partially who I am today comes from the success I got on Instagram when I started to explain young people to use their mind to perform better. And so I love my account. I haven't been very active in the last few months, but I'm getting back there because now I have a bit more time to put focus on at Cyborg Gains, and I do all sorts of stuff, and extract of my podcast are there as well. Otherwise, No Plan B podcast is on YouTube as well. It's always, but Biohackers Magazine is really the center point where you could get all the information on everything.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say that I even wrote an article for
very cool one, actually. Yes, very cool one. You know what? It's funny because I've been asking you for 2 years to write an article.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. Well, John, listen, you are. I'm so proud to call you a friend, and I'm very grateful. Yeah, very, very grateful to have you in my life and Young Goose's life, and
thank you.
In our community's life. So thank you very much. All the links to where people can kind of follow your journey and consume the information you put out there will be in the show notes. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, brother. It was really a blast for me to spend this time with you. It's just like, love you, my man.
Love you right
from
back.
the bottom of my heart.
What an incredible journey through the world of biohacking and longevity with Jean Fallacara. It's clear that the future of biohacking and wellness lies in embracing technology, neuroscience, and the principle of health optimization to enhance our health and vitality, basically in every decision we make. Jean's passion for innovation and his dedication to pushing the boundaries of what's possible really inspires me personally and all of us here at Young Goose to look beyond traditional beauty routines and explore new ways to maintain youthful skin and vitality through novel innovations. So thank you so much. I want to thank Jean for joining us today and sharing his valuable insights and strategies for optimizing our health and beauty through biohacking. And a huge thank you to you, our listeners, for tuning in and being a part of this journey with us. If today's episode sparked your curiosity or inspired you to explore biohacking further, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and share your thoughts, questions, or any topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Actually, on that point, what we're going to start doing from basically starting next week, I believe, is have bonus episodes where I'm going to be covering issues or concepts that you are asking us to cover. So you could definitely leave it in a review. That would be greatly appreciated. You can let us know via email, Instagram, DM, whatever that is, what you would like us to concentrate on, and we'll make sure to make it worth your while. So thank you very much. Until next time, I was Amitay Eshel. This was brought to you by Young Goose, the world's first biohacking skincare brand. Thank you, everyone.